Folk Islam. Another important aspect of Islam, but which often goes unnoticed, is folk Islam, which involves spiritism and the occult, and is widespread among every branch of Islam throughout the world. Some estimates are that 70% of all Muslims practice folk Islam in one form or another. Most Muslims live on two levels. On the one hand, they will probably ascribe to one of the main branches of Islam, but beneath the veneer of orthodoxy, there are beliefs and practices that are often very contrary to what the Quran teaches, although in the Quran itself, and especially in the Hadith, there are some justifications which support the views and beliefs of folk Islam. Orthodox Islam teaches that man's destiny is maktub, written by God, and that man is powerless to change his destiny. The orthodox belief, arrived at as traditional Islam developed and began to take its shape in the early years of Islam, is very fatalistic. But for many reasons, this does not satisfy the needs of a man's heart. On the one hand, fate is accepted as being determined and unchangeable, but in practice, Muslims will seek to rewrite what is written through folk Islam. A Dutch missionary in Indonesia said, "Working for many years in a Muslim country, I have come to the conclusion that the power of Islam does not lie in its dogma and practices, nor in the opposition to the Trinity or to the Lordship of Christ and his redeeming death, but in the occult practices of its leaders, thus holding sway over their people." The authorities of Orthodox religion are the official priests and prophets who focus on the abstract matters of that which is true and right. Orthodox Islam provides men with answers to the questions of the origin and meaning of life, to that of man's external purpose and destiny, and it tries to explain why there is suffering and injustice. But folk Islam focuses more on the need for power in one's life and deals with the immediate needs for healing and guidance and help and deliverance in the crisis of today. The leaders of folk Islam, while sometimes including Islamic priests, are often people outside the structure of official Islam, like the witch doctors and mediums. Many times these power leaders will be women who can carry great influence. The masses of Muslims today live on two levels, outwardly practicing the external rituals of formal Islam, while attaching folk Islamic beliefs to them and believing in practice more in the power of folk Islam. Some beliefs in folk Islam. The evil eye. The look or glance of jealousy or envy is seen as a powerful force that can cause harm to someone and in certain cases even sickness and death. The effect of the evil eye needs to be countered by things such as quoting the Quran, wearing charms or amulets with verses of the Quran in them, drinking water that has had paper with Quranic verses soaked in it, and other such magic. Belief in the evil eye is sanctioned by certain hadiths and by Muhammad, who acknowledged its reality and suggested that incantation be used in dealing with its effects. The hand of Fatima, Muhammad's daughter who married Ali, is often used as a charm to make the look of the evil eye reflect back upon the one giving it. The jinn. The jinn were believed in by Arabs from pre-Islamic times, and are considered to be spiritual beings somewhat between man and angels, and were created from fire. The stories of genies in a bottle come from these jinn. Satan is considered to be the head of the jinn, though he is somewhat different than them. The jinn belong to the spirit world, yet they live on the earth and not in heaven. They can be good or bad, but most are considered to be bad and to want to bring harm to men. The jinn can make a person sick, paralyze, or even kill someone. They can also possess someone. Muhammad was fearful he had become possessed by jinn when he first began receiving his revelations. The jinn dwell in certain places like garbage pits, inside certain trees, in marshes, rivers, wells, ruins, graveyards, and toilets. Dark rooms and the black of night are also dwelling places of jinn. To counter them and to appease them, Muslims will do many things, such as say the Bismillah in the name of God when going to the toilet for protection, and avoid doing certain things like pouring hot water down a drain to avoid scalding a jinn. Mediums or magicians will usually be consulted for help in countering the attack of a jinn. Mediums, spiritists, and astrologers are very popular means used by Muslims for help in determining the future and in seeking guidance. In seances, mediums will go into possessed trances and give guidance or answers to questions. The Quran is also used in a magical way in a popular practice called cutting the Quran. A Muslim will go to a Muslim priest, and the priest will open the Quran at random, punching his finger onto a verse. The verse is then interpreted as giving a yes, no, or maybe answer to the seeker's question. The worship of saints at the graves and shrines of saints is also a common practice in Islam. Saints, usually dead, are seen as having barakah, or blessing, a kind of positive magical force or power, and it is believed they can intercede for the worshipper, for example, to help a barren woman to bear children, or to get healing or material blessings. Some saints are believed to be particularly effective with certain types of problems. People will make vows at the shrines of the saint, and the saint is supposed to respond with barak, or blessing. People will then leave money and gifts and food at the shrine in payment. The relics of saints can also perform miracles. Relics of Muhammad include a hair of his in Topkapi Museum in Istanbul, his footprints, which are said to be in Cairo and also at the Dome of the Rock, and his cloak in Kandahar, Afghanistan, which invested the Mullah Omar of the Taliban, and so forth. Taboos. Certain actions, places, and things are seen as being proscribed and restricted, like touching a ceremonially impure person before prayer. Ignoring these restrictions can result in sickness, death, or disaster. The cure for any such violation is repentance for breaking the taboo, plus doing some form of prescribed penance. Muslim festivals are also seen as having a folk Islamic aspect. For example, Laylat al-Miraj, the night of ascent, the night when Muhammad went by a winged horse from Mecca to Jerusalem and then ascended to the throne of God, is considered a night when Allah and the angels will listen to entreaties for mercy, and Muslims will go to the graveyard to pray for their dead. Another night, Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power, is when the Quran was supposedly first given. Angels are said to fill the earth, and God can be entreated to change one's fate that night. These are just a few examples of the occultic practices that are widespread in Islam. In many Muslim countries, the majority of Muslims believe in and practice folk Islam. This is the end of Session 2. In our next session, we will be discussing how you can share Christ with a Muslim. May God bless you, and see you next time.